This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. All right, so the Browns have made their first cut down, and keep in mind that's the key word here, first, not final. First cut down to 53 men on this roster. There are a couple of things that you should know. The first 53 roster is usually a work in progress roster. It's going to look different by noon tomorrow. It's going to look different by the time the Browns start their first game week after the Labor Day weekend. So if your favorite did not make the team, depending on who that favorite is, it is likely, or there's at least the chance that that person could make the final 53. The offensive players that the Browns have cut, D'Onta Foreman is probably the biggest name and the one that a lot of people have question marks. He's cut, but he's not cut. He's very much expected to come back. I'll explain that more in just a bit. But D'Onta Foreman will be on the 53 probably for when the Browns play the Cowboys, but he is cut right now. Aiden Robbins, Jacob Sailors, Jalen Darden, James Prochet has been cut. Armin Robinson, the Zaire Payton, Mitchell Payton, Trayton Welch, Wyatt Davis, Zach Johnson, Roy Mbeka, Chimakorafor, Lorenzo Thompson, Jermaine Ifedi all got cut. So that means for the offensive side of the ball, on the 53-man roster, at quarterback, and this is a weird situation, Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and Tyler Huntley. So let's talk about that whole situation. Why are the Browns keeping 4 quarterbacks? Is this going to be permanent? What's going on here, right? You got to do the Brian Windhurst, like, what's going on here? I think that there's a trade that the Browns feel like they're close to working on, and they felt the need to make sure they secured whatever leverage they had in that trade by making it clear, or at least making it at least appear that they're willing to carry either Tyler Huntley or DTR, more than likely Tyler Huntley, on the 53-man roster. So that's why they have the extra quarterback. I think this is them thinking they have a move to make with that quarterback, or they're thinking, let's let the waiver wire pass for a couple of days. Let some teams who want a quarterback to claim on their 53, let the quarterback go, let this position go by, let them claim some quarterbacks so that it's a cleaner path and an easier path to make sure you get Tyler Huntley on the practice squad. This could be them just trying to ensure that. This could be them trying to ensure a trade. This could be them thinking, oh, we're going to trade Jameis. We're going to trade DTR. We're going to trade Tyler Huntley, and wanting to make sure they have 3 on the 53. This could be a number of things, but one thing I don't feel like it is the Browns keeping 4 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster going into the season. The reason I don't think that is if you look at the running back room, there's only 2 names there. Jerome Ford, Pierre Strong. I do not think the Browns go into the season with just Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong on the roster. Something's got to shake there, right? So that is my thoughts on the quarterback room. Running back room situation, just Jerome Ford, Pierre Strong. I think D'Onta Foreman will find his way back on this roster probably within the next few days. It's more of a clerical thing. They did this thing with Maurice Hurst. They do this almost every year where they cut a veteran player and then bring them back on. Now, you might be asking, why do they do this? Why can't they just cut somebody who's expected to fill less of a role than D'Onta Foreman, and why are they risking having D'Onta Foreman be out there in free agency when he's projected to be a significant enough part of the team? And again, same questions we had when they did this with Maurice Hurst, and these are fair questions to ask. The reason the Browns are doing this with veteran players is that if you have accrued over 4 years of NFL seasons as a player, which accrued means something different than just like years in the league. You have to accrue those seasons. You have to play a eligible amount of games. So if you've accrued 4 seasons in the NFL or more, you are not required to hit the waiver wire, right? When we think of the waiver wire, we think, oh, everybody who gets cut goes on the waiver wire, or some of us think that. But veterans who have 4 accrued seasons do not hit the waiver wire. What this means is that D'Onta Foreman is free to go anywhere he wants and is not required or is not put in a situation where somebody can claim him and take him without him agreeing to it, right? D'Onta Foreman has to agree to sign a contract somewhere else. If this sounds familiar, it's very similar to what the Browns were doing with Joe Flacco on the practice squad. Remember the freakouts that people had about that? They did the same thing with PJ Walker. They did the same thing with a bunch of guys throughout the year. This is just roster maneuvering, right? They know that D'Onta Foreman wants to be here. He likes the role that he has here. D'Onta Foreman likes the role that he has here. So they know he's not likely to sign somewhere else. They probably have talked to him and explained this situation. They have definitely talked to him and explained this situation to him. And it's kind of understood, hey, we're going to cut you. We're going to bring you back. Don't worry. We just got to do some clerical things to free up space, not only on the salary cap, but free up space on the 53-man roster. Or we're waiting for somebody to take this trade or finalize this trade. Or we're waiting for this, that, the third. It could be a number of reasons. It's clerical. They're going to bring back D'Onta Foreman. Now, do they just roll with the 3 running backs? Do they keep Pierre Strong? I think it depends on who shows up in the waiver wire. You got some funky situations going on in the NFL right now with the running back position. Like the Texans are keeping like 5 running backs. It's not going to last. The Miami Dolphins, last I checked, and I can double check this right now as we speak. Let me actually do that. Let me do that live in front of you, because the last time I checked the Dolphins cut radar, the last time I checked it, they had 8 running backs on the 53-man roster. Right now, they have 8. Yes, 8 running. Miami has 8. We talked about wanting to see if we can get Chris Brooks off of Miami's roster, right? Right now, they have 8 running backs, 2 rookies, 6 players, 8 of them. None of these dudes are on PUP. The Miami Dolphins have Devin Achaney, Chris Brooks, Xander Horvath, Anthony McFarland from the UFL and from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., Jalen Wright, Jordan Colbert. They're keeping a fullback, Alec Ingo, who is going to make the roster. He's really good. 8 running backs. Let me tell you, that ain't going to last. They are not keeping 8 running backs. But you can see right now, a lot of teams are doing a lot of different things. They're maneuvering, and it depends on what goes down there. Because right now, the Browns are fine with Pierre Strong being that 3rd running back. But if one of those Miami guys shakes out, and it's one of the guys that they like on Miami's roster that they have refused to cut because they know there's people interested, then the Browns could swoop in there and take it. There's going to be a lot of small maneuvering around here as the 53 continues to get finalized. So it's important to kind of keep that in mind whenever we're reacting or discussing the 53-man roster during this video, that this is not necessarily guaranteed to be who they run into the season with. And it's not even that it's guaranteed. It's not likely. So they're going to keep more than 2 running backs. The Browns kept 4 last year. They have Naheem Hines on PUP, non-football injury PUP, which is different. And then you have Nick Chubb on PUP. So they're going to have to pick up an extra body at least. Whether that body's going to be Pierre Strong in addition to D'Onta Foreman or not is, I think, up for question. And the reason Pierre Strong didn't get cut is because, one, I don't think he has 4 accrued seasons, which means he would hit the waiver wire, right? Those 4 accrued seasons do matter. I'm not 100% sure Tyler Huntley has 4 accrued seasons. I know he's been in the league more than 4 years. I don't know if he has the 4 accrued seasons. I would imagine he does because he's been active a lot, but we'll see. We'll see. That indicates a trade more than anything. Anyways, all right, tight end, they're keeping 2, David Njoku, Jordan Atkins. I do think they stick with 2. Offensive tackle, Jack Conklin, Jedrick Wills, James Hudson, DeJuan Jones. And it is of note, Jack Conklin, it seems like they're projecting him to start at right tackle. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Guard, Joe Bitonio, Wyatt Teller. No surprises there. Zach Zinter, Javian Cohen. Also worth noting, Michael Dunn is on the non-football illness list. So he's designated to return. So right now you got 2 backup guards who are both rookies, which is interesting. Center, Ethan Posick, Nick Harris. Luke Whippler is on injured reserve. Myles Garrett for edge. Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, Obo Okoronkwo, Alex Wright, Isaiah McGuire. No surprises there. Defensive tackle, they have 4 names right now. Dalvin Tomlinson, Quentin Jefferson, Maurice Hurst, and Shelby Harris. Mike Hall has been put on the commissioner's exempt list, so he is pending suspension, which is what we would assume. We'll see what happens with him in that whole process going forward. I think the Browns will maybe look for a 5th defensive tackle, but I don't think they're going to keep another 2-eye or 1-tech type player. So I know a lot of people thought Javon Briggs would make the 53-man roster. It seems like he's going to make the practice squad, but he did get cut. We'll talk about this in a minute here. But I don't think he had a chance to make the roster because if you look at how the Browns roll, they only really use Dalvin Tomlinson, not really as a 1-tech. They very rarely put him at 1-tech. All right, so for those of you who don't know, when I'm saying like 2-tech, 3-tech, 4-tech, all these things, that's referring to positioning on the defensive line. The Browns run what's called a 5-wide. Now, a 5-wide is another name for a position. Like technically, Myles Garrett plays some 5-wide. He plays some 4, but he's known as a edge rusher. Obo Okoronkwo is a perfect example of somebody who is a 5-wide. Like he plays super wide no matter when he's out there. He's always going to be on the furthest shoulder of whoever is on the line of scrimmage, which is usually called 5-wide positioning. Now, we call like a nose tackle. There's also a term for him called a 1-tech, right? A 1-tech is known as a 1-tech because they play the 1-technique position on the alignment of the defensive line. The Browns don't usually have Dalvin Tomlinson playing 1 or 0-tech, very rarely. In that wide 9, a lot of times in the wide 9, Dalvin Tomlinson is playing a 2-eye. And then when he's not playing a 2-eye, he's playing a 3-tech. There's just not enough snaps at 2-eye for the Browns to care about carrying a backup there, which means they were never going to carry a backup there. They were always going to have more 3-techs on that roster than anybody who could do 2-eye. I don't really think they care if somebody can do 2-eye. If Dalvin Tomlinson gets hurt during the game, they're just going to not have any of the 2-eye alignments there and stick to the 3-tech, or the 3-tech. Sometimes they like to do the overload where they have a 3-tech on one side, a 4-eye, and then a wide 9, and then on the other side they have a 4-eye, a power edge like an Alex Wright out there to hold it down. There's a lot of different ways that you can line it up, but if they bring in somebody, expect them to be of that 3-technique build. So we're talking about a pass rusher who is about 300 pounds, slightly under, the Maurice Hurst, Shelby Harris type of player. That's what they're going for with that wide 9. And I expect the next defensive tackle that they bring in, if they stay at 5 or if they get to 5, is there. Linebacker, they kept 6. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Jordan Hicks, To my chagrin, Devin Bush has made the 53-man roster. Tony Fields, Mahmoud Diabate, Nathaniel Watson all made the roster. Outside, there's really no surprises there. Even Devin Bush, who I don't think is good, is not a surprise there. Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson, your starting corners. Cam Mitchell, Miles Harden, Khalifa Lisi, no surprises there. Safety, Juan Thornhill, Grant Delpit, DeAnthony Bell, Ronnie McLeod, Ronnie Hickman, no surprises there. In special teams, Dustin Hopkins, Corey Bohorkowitz, and then Charlie Hewitt. Again, no surprises there. So that's a 53-man roster. I expect a lot of movement because this roster is not something that they would usually go into the season with. This could change dramatically by tomorrow, which is a good reason to stay locked in and subscribe here so you can stay up to date with all the news coming out. And here's some good takes. So I like to think I have good takes. I hope I have good takes. I hope y'all think I got good takes. So make sure you stay locked in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Ding that notification bell. Thank you for watching. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.